me try this again. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. Got a little note I'd like to share with you because you, the people, we are in a bucket of trash. We don't know how to make proper decisions because we are convinced that we do not have proper information. And with information, erroneous information, corrupt information, our decisions can be no less than that in which we used. And so here we are, struggling every day, arguing against each other, when we each are human beings requiring the same sustenance for survival, common amongst us all. It was provided for us, we were provided, and all of that has been given, and yet everything seems to work it out except animals and human beings. It's amazing how these things work, but I've spent about 40 years out here talking about your peace, your prosperity, and your joy. And one thing that they'll be able to say about me when I die, they will tell you, if they get a chance to, that I was committed to peace and prosperity and joy for everybody. And as a consequence, I have nothing. How am I going to be buried? That's all. I've told those who are in the positions to make the decisions to donate my body to science. If I'm too messed up for science, just throw me out there in the ditch somewhere. But not in the public. I don't want to make you smell me. Just get rid of me any way you want to. I have asked perhaps that you don't burn me up, because I would hate to think that I'm lying in that body, well aware of everything that's happening on the outside, and you coming over there burning me up, and I feel every bit of it. So they keep the fire away. Somebody say, well, burn me up. I don't want the worms going through me. Well, I have worms in me most all my life. But that fire, I know. So ladies and gentlemen, let me talk about the things that I came to talk to you about, that peace and that prosperity. You know, we're all in a bucket of junk. All of us, human beings. And when I say a bucket of junk, I'm saying we don't know what's going on. We don't know right from wrong. We know each way we turn, we are being lied to. Example. Right now, we're having troubles in our political system here in the United States of America. We got Republicans and Democrats. They had some problems in the election. Don't ask me how they got to be presented to us as our choices, but they were presented to us, and we have had nothing but trouble ever since. Trouble ever since. The whole darn campaign was about he, she, nobody worth a dime. And we stood back there and say, well, let me choose the lesser of the two. We did that. We joined in. We empowered evil on each side. We did. So evil was so empowered now that one side is won, the other one is saying, hey, there's some problems wrong. And now the other one says, you're trying to mess with us, there's some problems wrong. So you got people going into each other like they were married and kind of get a divorce. And they want to see who's going to get the benefits of this divorce. Husband and wife need to get separated from each other. In the same house, in the same nation. Here we are. Republicans at the Democrats, Democrats at the Republicans. And you and I in the middle of this bucket, and what is the end result of either one? We don't get nothing. We just here, like spectators, observing power do its thing. Power that came from us by being quiet and by accepting the ignorance that they've given us. But ladies and gentlemen, there's a way we can find out what's right and what's wrong. We can find out truth. But we have to do it as citizens. We can't expect a politician to do it. They already sold us out. Republican and Democrat. Liberals and conservatives. Don't make no difference how you try to picture it up. I'm sure each side can picture their side up and make it look gorgeous to those that support it. But it wouldn't look like anything for those who don't. And so in any of those situations, we, the people, always lose. Right now they're telling us that the Trump administration and the present people who support, they're trying to tear down this nation. They're trying to tear down every institution that has been established that people have held us in perspective to say that this nation is great because of how we've been able to assert ourselves and our understanding of life. Well, I'd like to ask this question. This has nothing to do whether you believe in the Bible or not, or whether you believe in God or not. But it has to do with the story. There's a story that said that there were Hebrew children down in Egypt land, and they were being oppressed just like minorities in the world. Being oppressed. And they were longing and praying for some relief. And somehow the word got out that God was going to send them a deliverer. A deliverer. Make a long story short, that deliverer was supposedly identified and given a message. Now, the message was solidified and made, hey, I'm committing my life to it because I saw this message coming through a burning bush. It wouldn't burn up. Had to be God because man couldn't do this. What the message say? Go down and tell old Pharaoh, go down and tell the government, I say, let my people go. Moses went down and told old Pharaoh, I am that I am says, let my people go. Now, when Moses went to say, let my people go, the people were expecting someone to come to free them. And so it wasn't that complicated, might have been a little rough, to get the people to get in line. So we ready. And make a long story shorter, they left. They left. Now what happened? God said something, requested something of them, and they did it. They did it. They got to the sea. They had come, they had done what God asked them to do, but now they were in a position they could not do anything else. They had taken the first step. The second step was too big, but the second step was required. And who made the second step? The one that it was not too big for. Opened up the sea. Now, if you don't believe the story, that's okay. But just think about the story. Open up the sea. And the people were able to go forward. Why? Because the people believed and the people did something about it. They did what they were guided and instructed to do. People come down to America and says, God says we want peace, prosperity, and joy in this life. Want all your dreams to come true and want you to be happy. And this is what you want to do. This is what you will be required to do. And who's listening? Not a single soul. I mean, there was I don't know how long ago that was when those stories referred to, but it must have been a long time because we so far from that today, it does not mean a thing. We are not listening to nothing. We will all go to hell in a basket before we change. That's our mindset as it is today. We will all go to hell before we change. You talk about it, God said do something long you want. Now, so Moses told them, they responded, they acted, and they were set free from that bondage. Now, let me give you another example. You know Solomon. They said Solomon was one of the wisest men that ever lived. Today, some of the things that Solomon did, we don't stand for. They say Solomon had a lot of ladies. Well, we don't go for that today here in the United States of America. But that is not what Solomon is known for, as being a wise man. They told a story about a baby that was born. 2 late babies, in fact. And one died, and the other one didn't. And these babies were in same proximity. One mother's kid had died, another mother's kid was alive. They say the mother whose kid died stole the kid from the woman whose kid was alive. And they argued like we do today. It's my kid, my kid, my kid, my kid. So they say, well, let's take it to the wise man, and we'll see what the wise man say do. So they went to the wise man, see how wise he is. The one, I can imagine, the person who knew it wasn't their kid, they were just going to see was this a wise man or not. The person who knew it was their kid was going to see if it was a wise man or not. So they just listened. They shut up, stopped fussing, stopped arguing, and listened for the judgment. Well, in the examination process, Solomon, the king, says, in determining whose baby it was, he says, I tell you what I'm going to do. To make a long story short, you ladies apparently are in love with this baby. And it would just be wrong for me to make a decision that is not proper. So what I'm going to do as judge, I'm going to cut this baby in half. And I'm going to give you a piece, and I'm going to give you a piece. The woman who the baby did not belong to, apparently she had some problems. Either she was scared that she was going to be caught on a lie, or she was getting some justice at the other woman. I don't know what was going on in that. You know, so many things could have been going on. But she accepted that proposal. But the lady who owned, the mother of the kid, said, no, I won't have it like that. I'm not going to kill my child. I'm not going to agree to the killing of my child. So if the only way my child can live is by me giving it up, then I'll give it up so this child can live. The judge says, you take the baby. That's your baby. Now, you're probably wondering what I'm going with this. I've just described all the problems that we as Americans, and not just Americans, but people all over the world are having the same kinds of problems, whether it's about democracy, whether it's about fascism, or whether it's about totalitarianism, whatever it's about. It all ends up the same way. So what I would suggest to anybody who's concerned about what is proper, let me stick to America back now. We got the Republicans and the Democrats. Yeah, don't tell you got politicians. Some people think Donald Trump is lying so far it's ridiculous. But you got congressmen, you got senators backing everything he's saying. Even when they watch him, just like you and I do, sit up and say something, then turn around the next day and change and say he didn't say it. Knowing he lying, and they back him all the way. And I'm sure that people on the other hand look at the Democrats the same way. And we're not going to get any order out of that. I heard Alan Dershowitz this morning talking about what was proper, what the president can do and what the president cannot do, so on and so forth. Now, basically, what we're basically saying is that we're really screwed when we're expecting somebody else to look after us. We better take care of ourselves. And so what I say to you is this. I personally know there's no difference between Republicans and Democrats. They're all the same. And we, all of us, will that too. They got different goals and objectives. We got that too. But there are certain things that are common that are essential. And we all got that. And we all require that for survival. And if one man can live, then all of them should live. And what is one of the major requirements that human beings have for their survival? Their main requirement, basically, working. When one man was on the earth, he had to work for his food. He had to work for his clothes. He had to work for his shelter. He had to work to maintain his education. He had to work to maintain his health care. It is no different today. Every human being on earth who expects these things right here should be working. And there should be no law on the face of the earth that will deny any human being from working, because that is how they survive, by working. You might want to make it sound good by saying careers of choice. Something that you love doing, but it's putting your hands to the plow and engaging yourself in the finished product for which we have determined are essential for our survival. So, you bring these representatives and you say this: give me a proposal that will satisfy what is required for every American's human survival. You do say that to the Republican, say that to the Democrat, and sit back. and see who's going to come up with the answer. If neither one of them can come up with the answer, what does that say? That says the answer's in your hand. So that means that you got to come together. The people got to come together, not your representatives. The people got to come together. And if they just spent a little time, not a lot of time, I know you think because the governments and they got so many laws and rules and regulations and paperwork, all that stuff is to hide the lie. All of that is designed to hide the lie. The truth is very simple. The truth is very simple. But Republicans and Democrats, liberals and conservatives, will not reach that conclusion. Because in order to be able to reach that conclusion, you got to know that there is another power responsible for things other than human beings. Another power that requires our allegiance. Another power that says that allegiance is expressed in our respect for one another. And our respect for one another is determined by how we treat that one another. And what is that? That you will do unto others as you'd have others to do unto you. I say do unto others as you'd have God to do unto you. Now, Republicans didn't come over there. Democrats didn't come over there. So why are we sitting up there watching them arguing in Washington when neither one of them are meaning us any good? Our heads are hurting. Our hair is falling out and turning gray. Our limbs are getting dilapidated. We are sick. We are messed up. And we have to go through this stuff. How do you think old people feel who don't have that much time on earth? Been going through most of this all their lives. How do you think they feel when they look about at the little babies who are just being born or some 1, 2, 3 years old, just coming up, and they got to go through all this stuff that's going to be 10 times worse than it was when we came along? How do you feel? How do you think God feels when we as human beings are just like the wild beasts of the field? I think the wild beasts of the field got more compassion for one another than we as human beings do. And we can think that, well, I like my kind, and I like this. No, that's no good, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't do me any good to love my family if I can't love your family, because I need your family as much as you need my family for peace, prosperity, and joy. And if I turn my back on your family, it's like I'm turning my back on myself. I just cut my peace and prosperity and joy down half. So you look and see which one of these Republican Party, Democratic Party, conservatives, and liberals going to come up and say, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that nobody suffers. Not only that, there ain't going to be no little people and big people. It's going to be human beings. Now, if they can't do that, then why do we call them our representatives? Well, we know why. But it's time for us to stop it. It's time for us to tell all of the politicians to go home. Tell them to go home. They're not working for you. Who's smiling and screaming? The corporations are. They are paying these politicians. Somebody told me they just gave Ryan $500,000 for the role that he played in getting this tax bill through. And you can imagine what Donald Trump is getting out of it. They are all being fed. They won't find happiness. They'll find access. But we won't even find access, neither will we find happiness. And we probably going to accept it. But I'm going to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, Republicans and Democrats are Republicans and Democrats. Liberals and conservatives are that. And they're going to be that. Chances are they're going to get worse. But we as people are people. And they are doing it to us because we allow them to. The question is, what will it take for us to wake up? I hope it doesn't take military walking down through the street, picking up people and shooting them, and people running and doing everything they can, trying to find somewhere to hide. I hope it doesn't take that. But in some corners of the world, it has taken exactly that. Those people sitting down scared. I don't want to die. They kill you. Tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I've given you the message. You stand up and you will be protected. Why? Because you would have taken the first step. Now, there was no story in that story that I mentioned about the Red Sea that indicated one person lost their lives crossing that Red Sea. Everybody went across. Got some problems on the other side because the stuff that was created and built in them from where they came was still with them. So they went on the other side, left talking about promised land, but when they got on the other side, they saw the land was just land. And what was required to have that promised land required that they build it, that they come together as a community, that they build it. But they were expecting it to be land out there, walk into the promised land. Everything is already laid out, food and clothing. You don't got to worry about nothing. Just go get it. Go get it. Oh, baby. You had to work. You had to engage yourselves. And that's what you got to do today. You got to first change up your own mind, renew that sucker. Then you can get away to get rid of these politicians. You get rid of them. You don't have to go out and take them and hang them on telegram poles. You don't have to go and slice them all up. You don't have to do that. You just make up your mind that their job is through. The role that they are playing is over because you're not accepting it anymore. And when you say that and mean it, it's done. And when you say that you're ready to take a new course, a directive that will lead us to the things that I've just described to you here today, once you sit down, each people thinking about that, I guarantee you, it's as easy as you take, let's say, you got 5 different houses. Let's give it 6. And they got kids in them. Let's say they got toddlers. 3, 4, 5. Let me see back down on the 4. Up to 4 years old. Take them to the playground to play. And I guarantee you they can have a ball. It's the same thing. When you sit your tails down, focus on making things right and for you and yours, it'll be as simple as going to that playground as a toddler and having yourself a ball. It's just that simple. You probably will never hear this from anyone else but me. Well, I'm not going to put that on me. There are some other people that knows this too. But I tell you, I'm tired. I'm tired. Today I heard on the news, we got this flu thing going, flu epidemic going around. And on the early morning news, they were saying who were most likely to die from this, who could be affected in the most negative way. And they talked about people who were my age. They talked about people who had maybe heart conditions. They said these are the most likely ones to die from a heart attack. I'm sitting there listening to that stuff this morning. I said, whoa. And I've been had chest pains right here in my heart all day today. And a few yesterday. And I'm thinking, should I go to the hospital right now and start making something? But something told me it doesn't matter about me going to the hospital, but that I take a little bit of time and that I open myself up to you and I tell you about freedom, that I tell you about peace, that I tell you about prosperity, about joy, your dreams coming true, about happiness. And that became a little bit more important to me, that I can produce this document and put it out in somewhere that sometimes somebody might hear it, somebody might be touched by it, and somebody might use it. That is more important than me going to the hospital, checking to see if I can live another day in this hellhole. I won't change, or you can have it. Thank you for giving me this your time. Bye-bye.